Ultra phones are supposed to be simple. Large sensors, big cameras, no compromises. And this is Xiaomi's take on that idea. This is the Xiaomi 17 Ultra, and on paper, it checks all the boxes. Top of the line internals, a massive battery, premium build, and it's the first Ultra phone to launch with the 8 Elite Gen 5. But here's the thing, Xiaomi didn't just refresh last year's formula, they made a very conscious choice. They made one change with the camera that I really didn't expect. Instead of adding more sensors, Xiaomi actually removed one and replaced it with something far more ambitious. And depending on how you feel about smartphone photography, this could either be a brilliant move or a risky one. Now, I've been using the Xiaomi 17 Ultra, shooting with all three cameras, testing the new zoom system and comparing it against phones like the iPhone 17 Pro, and there's one moment in particular that genuinely ended up surprising me. So today, let's unbox the Xiaomi 17 Ultra and break down what Xiaomi got right, where they took risks, and whether this is the Ultra phone everyone else is now gonna have to respond to. If this is your first time here, or in case you just can't remember, my name's Ash, you're watching C4E Tech, and let's get started. The base variant this time is 12512, which is interesting, more on that later. Once we open up the box, first we have this white insert that houses a SIM tool, a quick start guide, and a transparent hardshell case. Next up is the phone itself. Let's remove it from its protective cover. I managed to snag what I feel is the best colorway this time, this green. It's got a bit of a sparkly look to the back. Xiaomi also offers this phone in black, white, and purple. Next up, we have a USB Type-A to Type-C cable with orange accents, and finally, there is a 100-watt charger. Now keep in mind this phone only supports 90-watt wired charging, and the battery capacity has been bumped up to 6800 mAh this year. Using the included 100-watt charger, it can go 0 to 50 in just 25 minutes, with a full charge taking about an hour. We also get wireless charging at up to 50 watts, along with support for reverse wireless charging too. Now, it's not just the battery capacity that's gone up, but the display size as well. And despite that, the phone, it's over a millimeter thinner this time while weighing about the same. Xiaomi, they've changed a few things here. The display is now flat. In fact, it's the same panel from the Xiaomi 17 Pro Max, Dragon Crystal Glass covered 6.9-inch AMOLED 120Hz LTPO with a 1.5K resolution and the same superior sub-pixel arrangement. It gets quite bright for outdoors usage and has 2160Hz PWM dimming for those sensitive to flicker. Alternatively, there's even a DC light dimming option available. The design, it's in line with what we've been seeing all year. There's a flat display, a flat back, flat metal sides, rounded at the edges, curved at the corners. It's not exactly easy to hold, but feels premium. Do note that the back here is fiberglass with a matte finish, so at the very least, it doesn't pick up fingerprints easily. The power and volume keys have been redesigned. For some reason, I can't help but feel a fruity taste in my mouth when looking at it. Jokes apart, this phone has an IP69 rating for protection against the elements. The Type-C port here is USB 3.2 Gen 2 with video out. The fingerprint scanner is ultrasonic with optimal placement. The camera array, it still juts out, gives you a nice place to rest your fingers on, and is slightly smaller than last year. Now there is reason for that. So okay, now it's time to talk about what I'm sure you guys have been waiting for, the optics. So like I said, this time there's only 3 camera sensors, not 4. For reference, here's what the Xiaomi 15 Ultra offered. You see the 2 telephotos? Xiaomi's combined them into one camera by adding continuous optical zoom. Now guys, with zoom lenses, we've got 2 kinds. First is external zoom. Here's where the length of the lens increases to increase the focal length. These are the kind of zoom lenses you most commonly see. Even on smartphones, for example, the Galaxy S4 Zoom, almost a decade back, Samsung actually used an implementation of this. Next, we have internal zoom. With these lenses, the actual length of the lens does not change, but there are optical elements inside the lens that move to change the focal length. These lenses are often more expensive, and we've recently even seen Sony implement this on their phones. Now, this is the kind of zoom Xiaomi's gone for here. The sensor is a 200 megapixel Samsung HPE, 1/1.4 inches. It's paired with a 75 to 100 mm equivalent zoom lens for continuous zoom between 3.2x and 4.3x. The zoom results were extremely good. Just look at these shots. Now at 8.6x, you can get lossless zoom by center cropping the sensor. Maybe in the future, Xiaomi can include lossless 6.4x to 8.6x, continuous zoom via the sensor crop. Would be nice. Now that's not all. Remember, this is a 200 megapixel sensor, so there is a 200 megapixel mode, and while it takes a few seconds to process, you don't have to hold the phone in place while this animation runs. And just look at the detail on that fur. This was the moment where this phone really wowed me. So you do get a real long reach with the telephoto this time, and the AI bit kicks in sooner at 20x. The images do clean up real nice. Now, due to the way the optics work here, the circular bokeh to the back kind of looks cut off. Personally, I don't see that as a con, it just feels unique. Now moving on, the ultra-wide remains unchanged from the last time. It's a 50 megapixel Samsung JN5, a 1/2.75 inch sensor. The lens does have autofocus and can pull double duty for macros. Now before we talk about that 1-inch primary, guys, most of the phones that you see here on C4E Tech, I personally purchased them. I do that to avoid reliance on brands and brand guidelines when it comes to covering these phones. So if you do appreciate that, drop this video a like, subscribe, turn on notifications by hitting that bell icon if you haven't. It really helps the channel out. So if you can do it, please do. Coming back, the primary, we finally get a new 1-inch sensor, this time from OmniVision. It's the 1050L or OV50X, depending on which source you follow. Either ways, what's special here is that it uses LOFIC tech. LOFIC basically gets you HDR images without needing to use multiple frames. So the dynamic range here, it's best in class. This is the kind of upgrade that doesn't show up on a spec sheet, but you see it immediately when you shoot. I had so much fun playing around with this camera. Images are so detailed and rich. The dynamic range is excellent. And of course, the large sensor with a fast f1.6 lens, that causes a strong blurring of the background. Now under low light, once again, the performance is fantastic. Just look at the side-by-sides with the iPhone 17 Pro. The colors are a lot more natural. The dynamic range difference is obvious. Just see the detail. The images are just so much better. Now the camera UI has also been updated. At first glance, there are a lot more options for you to see, and tapping the small arrow lets you choose different scenes. I like the silhouette option. It leverages that dynamic range to get some really cool shots. There's also this live cinematography mode, which gives you different options when it comes to live images. Say, red carpet gives you regular live photos, but with a slowdown at the end and a dynamic zoom added to the whole thing. Portrait is your regular hero shot, a close-up shot with a zoom out at the end. Freestyle lets you choose from one of 3 zoom ranges and lets you shoot a normal zoom shot. And then there's Live Ultra HD, which is a live photo, but with 4K video. Speaking of live photos, you can now take a live photo in the portrait mode or even when you're shooting video. Cool, right? And you can shoot up to 8K 30 or 4K 60 via all 3 sensors. 4K 120 is something you can do with the primary and the telephoto. The footage, it looks really good, even under low light. Here's a side-by-side with the iPhone 17 Pro. The Xiaomi, it still has that little bit of EIS jitter, which is basically why personally I'd still prefer an iPhone when it comes to video. That said, the detail, the natural blur, and the fact that you can shoot 4K 120fps log footage in full pro mode with different audio recording choices and a whole host of monitoring options including focus peaking, zebras, histogram, and more. There's a whole lot to like here. Also, if you tap that triangle under video, you can now select LOFIC. This pushes the dynamic range even further. One thing I learned the hard way is given how huge that telephoto setup is, the primary and the ultra-wide cameras are located way down at the bottom of the array, so you need to be very careful about where your finger rests to avoid shots like this. Now the 50 megapixel selfie camera performed admirably too. It can shoot 4K 60 selfie video and the footage was very good. Now there are a couple more things about the cameras, but these are things I don't have, but I'm still gonna talk about them. First, the photography kit. Functionally, it seems quite similar to the one Xiaomi sold for the Xiaomi 15 Ultra, though this one comes with a 2000 mAh battery built in. The response in China with respect to the case has been a little mixed. Some people seem to like the carbon fiber finish, while some prefer the fall leather from last time. Then there's the Leica edition Xiaomi 17 Ultra. This is effectively the same phone, but it comes with a programmable ring around the camera. You can use it for zoom or program it to do a host of different things. Set it up on a per mode basis if you want to. That's the level of granularity they offer. This model also includes Leica themed icons, a Leica lens cap, a red wrist strap, and also a few modes which mimic the look from popular Leica cameras. Personally, unless you're a huge Leica fan, I don't see how that extra 1000 RMB premium makes sense for this, which is why I ended up going with the regular Xiaomi 17 Ultra. It's kind of weird to say regular and Ultra in the same sentence, but It is what it is. Now, of course, the rest of the phone is your 2025 flagship. Everything we saw on the 17 Pro Max is present here. If you want to check out that video, I'll leave a card to it. Now we get HyperOS 3 built atop Android 16 with a Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. There are stereo speakers, Wi-Fi 7, NFC, IR blaster. It's all present and accounted for. Alright, quick break before we get to pricing and see if this thing actually makes sense. So, big shout out to video sponsor Anbernic. They now have a brand new handheld in the RG477V. It comes with an awesome 4.7-inch 960p 120Hz IPS display with a 4:3 aspect ratio that makes it ideal for systems like the Sony PlayStation 2 and Nintendo GameCube. Under the hood, we've got a solid combo, Dimensity 8300, 12 gigs of LPDDR5 RAM, 256 gigs of storage with microSD. So there's enough horsepower to run those systems even at 3x resolution or higher with smooth, consistent frame rates. The buttons, they're tactile and clicky. We get Hall sensor sticks. The all-glass front looks nice, and the grip to the back, it's very ergonomic for a vertical handheld. Now to know more about the RG477V, check out the link in the description below. Okay, as promised, let's now get back to the Xiaomi 17 Ultra and its pricing. The Xiaomi 15 Ultra started at 6499 RMB. The 17 Ultra, it starts higher at 6999 RMB. But the base is now 512 gigs. And a 512 15 Ultra costed about the same. So basically, it's the same price as the last generation, but they've just cut out the lowest SKU. They're starting with 512 now. I'd usually complain about this, but given how RAM prices are surging, I'd actually take this as a win. So here's what I feel about the Xiaomi 17 Ultra. Here's how I see it. This isn't Xiaomi playing safe. It's them making deliberate choices, especially with the cameras, prioritizing real-world results over just plain spec flexing. The continuous zoom, it's cool. The new primary sensor is genuinely excellent, and the overall camera experience feels a lot more refined this time. Add to that the thinner build, the bigger battery, the 8 Elite Gen 5, and this feels like Xiaomi setting the tone early. Is it perfect? No. It's still big, still expensive, and some video quirks remain. But if cameras are high on your priority list in 2025 or 26, this is now the phone everyone else has to respond to. By the way, I'm just curious, what do you think about this decision to, bundle two sensors into one with that continuous zoom? Do you feel it's too short a range? Would you have preferred the setup from the Xiaomi 15 Ultra? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Also, what do you think about this phone in general? Leave a comment down below. And I guess that's it. Thanks for watching. Ash out.